Hello and welcome to Scarlet Serpent Readings. Thank you so much for joining me for today's pick a card reading, timeless pick a card reading, of course, as we look at how a tarot reader would describe you. This reading is going to have a few different parts. The first one, I want to try something a little different where I'm going to kind of doodle on paper, and maybe channel some messages just about overall energy for you. And then we're gonna get into a card that indicates your overall energy. It's an oracle card. And then 2 rows of tarot, 1 row of tarot indicating how you navigate the mundane 3-dimensional world, a little bit about you through your actions, really. And then another set of tarot cards that'll show, I guess, like your spirituality and how you navigate the unseen world. And then we'll close out the reading with your impact on the world. So first of all, I want to thank all of you who are subscribed. I really appreciate the support, especially with the community posts. It's fun to interact with you in that way, and I appreciate it. And for those of you who are just watching for the first time, welcome, and thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoy. So with that being said, let's get into the pile selection. I have 3 different stones for you, okay? Pile 1. This green opalite here. You could tell I've been using it because of that brown line. Pile 2. It's going to be this carnelian. And then pile 3 is going to be, if I remember, this is called pyrite, but I forget, to be honest. So if you need some more time to select a pile, you could pause the video now. Otherwise, I'll meet you at your reading. Hi, pile 1. If you chose the green opal, this is going to be your reading. So I'm just a little nervous with the whole channeling thing, because I don't think it's going to be very fun to watch, but I'm just going to go for it. Just doodle. I'm not an artist, by the way. Well, I'm getting a lot of water energy and possibly some anger in the way those have treated you, particularly emotionally, as if like your emotional intelligence doesn't matter, when of course it does. And you might have compartmentalized the way you feel, and just so that others could understand, where you come from. And I think in a way that might have diluted your emotional intelligence from time to time. We're trying to explain the way you feel, but it's not something that could be explained so easily. But I think through that experience, you've learned to communicate very well. It's like your communication skills are not only really good, in a practical way, but just in terms of expressing things that are fairly difficult to express otherwise, in terms of your spirituality. So I feel as though some of you like birds or connected to birds. I'll show you the drawing also. But I think ultimately this whole experience has been great for you, in that you've learned to, I guess, come out of your shell and allow all of this kind of bottled in energy, bottled in perspective to come out. And that's been a big part of your journey, is expression and believing in the importance of your experience. So I'll just show you this little thing before we get into, I'll choose a card. I don't have any cards out, so I'm not cheating at all. But just so you could look at that real quick. All right, let's get into your reading. So the first card I want to do or draw is, I guess, your overall energy. So how would a tarot reader describe just you in 1 or 2 oracle cards? So let's see what comes out. First of all, the bird thing, yeah, makes sense. And I did draw 2 eyes, and you'll see them. Actually, let me just see if there's any other. No, that's it. Okay, very good. That's cool. That's really cool. So definitely a connection to birds. Look at that. The heart is in the throat chakra. Look at that eye in the heart center. Look at that. This is pretty insane. I wasn't ready for this. Just to show, right? The eye, the birds, the bit of water, and then. So, I mean, I don't know if it's just me who sees a similarity, but you let me know in the comments. But with this card, it's becoming a warrior, a lot of warrior energy, and it's kind of interesting. There's a nice blend of masculine and feminine energy here, where it's like in the outer shell, you're very, there's the owl, the shape of the owl, again, the bird energy, a lot of wisdom, a lot of perspective from that. We have blue showing up, so it's like, what do you call it, communicating energy, very strong communication skills, and definitely a very strong ability to express the way your heart feels. So that might have been just, there's been a little bit of a learning curve in terms of expressing your emotions, but valuing it and seeing it as something very important and something to be guarded of. I mean, that this loving heart needs protection, and you're not going to tolerate. And I think there's kind of this balance of intellectual intelligence and emotional intelligence, and you're very easily able to express. Again, you're a bit of a hunter at this point, and I think that most of your life you might have been in some, I don't want to say abusive, because that's like a strong word to say, but a lot of challenging relationships, that have caused you to become a warrior. And that's, again, this bottom part of the drawing shows that all of this nonsense that you've had to deal with actually was really helpful in creating a very strong a very strong person. And that's this bottom stuff. It's like nothing of consequence, and then all of a sudden it blossoms out. And just to give you a place, the drawing started here, and it moved this way, and this was added at the end. So it's kind of like, in retrospect, all of what you've experienced has created an incredibly wise, and you have very strong communication skills now, but that was not always the case. Okay, so let's see how, with the tarot, you navigate the 3D world. There's only one card so far. So I have 4 cards. Oh, I'll figure that out later. No, I won't. I just don't want these to be messed up for later piles or shuffling, so I'm just talking to myself. Alright, let's see the cards. The first one is the 6 of Swords. It almost feels as though that's what you've been handed. But you're very compassionate, in terms of what you say and how you say it, even though people who come to you may not have, they might have a sharp tongue, but you speak with grace. More swords. Two of Swords. I think there's this balance between your heart center and your mind in terms of communication. So communication and mental energy is very strong here, especially with the wisdom of the owl. So you might sometimes hold back what you have to say, just because you're so conscious of how that might hurt people, you know, because you feel the way that might hurt others. Right. We have Mercury again with the so Mercury and the moon. It's actually like really structured your energy. Like it's communication, it's emotions, it's intelligence with the moon and Mercury again. But you're very gentle with the way you speak. It might cause hesitation sometimes. You might feel stuck when it comes to decision making because you're very well aware. It's almost like sometimes your awareness can slow you down because you're analyzing every aspect of a situation and I think a lot of people come to you for that reason. Maybe people who are difficult to deal with sometimes, but I think there's this part of them that knows who they're dealing with, like their higher self knows to go to you for advice because you're very you'd be like the Justice card. You'd be a wise one, very wise energy, especially with a yellow. I think of Archangel Jophiel with wisdom and clarity of mind. And this owl card is a spiritual card because in the deck there's 4 different, there's like ecological, spiritual, emotional, and I forgot the other one, but this is a spiritual card. So you apply your spiritual wisdom to daily life effortlessly. All swords. This is very interesting. 7 of Swords with yeah, moon again, moon in Aquarius, so moon's coming up twice. Lots of swords. This is how you deal with the world intellectually, and I think you've probably, as I said, I think previously, have dealt with just not so great people, shady people, and I think although that was a difficult situation for most of your life, it's made you really intelligent and really strengthened you up, where you would sometimes give too much, where I just get the feeling that you might have had trouble speaking in the past, speaking your truth, speaking in general, enunciating your thoughts, and now that's not the case. But you've had to deal with a lot of shady people, and you still do probably, but I think at this point it's not as big of a deal because you're very easily able to see right through them. Again, with the owl, with all the eyes that I was drawing in the Oracle card. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. I do think that you're someone who takes care of money, not just money, but the physical world as well, very nurturing, and I think that's why you had to be a little more protective of your energy. Do I want to clarify these? Do I need to clarify these? Let's see. No. Okay, just one. A clarifying card for all of them is the Ten of Wands. This probably has to do with the protection with the, not just the owl spirit within you. You probably have a connection to owls or birds, but in safeguarding your energy, especially emotional energy, despite this being a Wands card. I think you've been dealt with a lot. there's a lot of responsibility that falls on you, and it's almost as if you might have had a spiritual team that helps you protect your innocence and your lightheartedness in navigating the mundane world. You're resourceful in not only money, but in your time. There's a card that's snuck out here, so I'm going to show it. The Ten of Pentacles. You have the potential to create this not only for yourself, but for others. I think taking that pentacle and making it grow, and because it's coming at the end of the reading where the last card was the Page of Pentacles, I think this is something that if you haven't experienced it yet is coming in the future. It just takes time, and it might be extra frustrating for you because your mind moves so fast, and reality, this 3D world, is so slow. Especially in comparison to your mind, especially if you see yourself as that bird guardian. You're like, the heart has wings, it's a bird, there's all this air energy, like you move quickly, and sometimes that quickness leads to burnout mentally. I think part of that quickness also has to do with avoiding people who slow you down. It might feel like there's an anchor to some people that you deal with. Like you don't have, I feel like you would be someone like me who, if there's plans to be there at a certain time, like, hey, let's meet here at this time, and they're late and they don't tell you, I'm like, I'm not gonna tolerate it, because that's a disrespect of my time, and I don't appreciate it. And I think you'd be like that, where it's just, if they let you know that they're gonna be late, it's fine. If they don't, they're being disrespectful. And I think that's just because you have the flight, like you want to be places, you want to experience the world, but at the same time, grounding this energy is something that you've learned later on in life. Okay, let's get a feel for the spiritual energy. How do you navigate the spiritual world? I mean, obviously you're very spiritually connected, and you apply that wisdom into your daily interactions, you know. You've put a lot of effort into your spirituality. I think that's why it's so easy now, but you took the time to build that, build a relationship with your spirit guides, with yourself. Self-nurturing here with Pisces, Virgo, and Capricorn. And again, you want to move fast spiritually, because you know where you want to go. So let's show you the cards. Building with the crown again, hinting back at wisdom, hinting back. I said Archangel Jophiel. I stick with that as an archangel who works with you regardless of whether or not you realize it. But you know, the crown is there, building. So you put a lot of time into your spirituality. You put a lot of time into some sort of healing, and you nurture the spirit within you as well. You, I think, have a dialogue with your inner child. Lots of nurturing energy. She's hugging herself. There's spiritual protection. We have the Two of Pentacles here with Capricorn. I think you balance the mundane world and spirituality very well. Interesting how much water there is here. So you ground this emotional energy as well, and I think that's what makes it easy for you to communicate the way you feel. There's also a little ship in the background, so there's this desire to travel, and again, this energy could be a little difficult for you because, first of all, it was the last few cards in the previous section, and I think you have big dreams of being able to travel, but you don't want to do too much boring stuff to get it, so it's kind of like balancing out, how do I save money, and how do I still nurture my inner child? How do I still practice spirituality? I'm shaking the card like it's on fire. And then with the Chariot, there's an eye in the middle, balancing but moving forward. Right. So you're like, what do you call it? The trailblazer in spirituality. And grounding your wisdom so that you can move forward with confidence. Let's get a few clarifying cards before we draw. Okay. Death and King of Pentacles. Notice how the King of Pentacles is looking at death. Notice how he's kind of trying to block himself from it too. I don't think you're afraid of death, but you acknowledge it. I think there's this balancing again, some Scorpio energy, but we have 10 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. So it's interesting, right? How there's a lot of pentacles in the spiritual side of things, and then the mundane world is a lot of mental energy, which just goes to show that for all of your spiritual wisdom, part of your soul purpose and part of what you've been working on is grounding it and making money from it, because it is part of the fairness that you deserve. It's not just being a monk in the mountains is great, it benefits people, but I don't think that's why you're here. It's to be financially stable so that you could share that with the world as well. Not only that, not just that, but to do so in a way that aligns with your spirituality and who you are. So it's not just making the money, but it's staying true to yourself in the ways of doing that. Anything else? There's a lot of clouds here. You might have a lot of thoughts, but I think they're downloads and not necessarily just random nonsense. Although you might get tired of other people's nonsense if you pick up on it. The Death card hints at mediumship, so you're probably, at least at some level, a medium, telepath, clear cognizance mostly. Okay, how do you impact the world? Family. I don't know why I knew this card was gonna come up earlier. You could feel like family to strangers, you know, which is why they feel so comfortable with you. Despite all of the Swords energy, I think because of the Page of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles, you have a very cozy feel to you. But only for those who have like a childlike heart, because otherwise they could feel intimidated by this person. This would be the King of Pentacles, actually. The King of Pentacles is looking at this figure of like where they want to be later in life. Cozy and relaxed and filled with love. But to get there, they might need to be protective of that energy. So how do you impact the world? There's one more card. Receive. I think you're teaching people how to be a little more passive, and how being in this energy is really the key to manifestation, not so much even thinking deliberate thoughts, but allowing the moment to be what it is. And with the family card, I just get a sense that you come across as the wise person. when you are the person receiving, later on in life, you tell them how you got to where you were with wisdom and compassion and love. I'm going to close the reading off with that because I just saw 2255 and I don't know, it's a cool number to end it. So let me know what you thought of the reading. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that fun stuff. I really enjoy interacting with you, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 2. If you chose the carnelian stone, this is going to be your reading. So I'm going to start drawing. I'm not an artist, but we're just going to get into it, and I apologize, because I know it's not as interesting as if you were able to see the drawing. I will show it to you at the end, though. I think you have a beautiful mind that's ever expanding and that draws a lot of attention. But you haven't always seen yourself as that way. You probably don't still. You might not be aware of your own beauty, but it does draw, you know, a lot. People nourish themselves from your beauty, really. I do think there is jealousy that surrounds you a lot, because you could come across as threatening to those with a lot of ego, you know. Instead of acknowledging the beauty that you are and that they are for themselves, they're probably busy just comparing. I think you're connected to like elementals or fairies. Very light-hearted, childlike energy. I think maybe people try and convince you that that's not a way to live life, you know? They try and force you to be serious. There is a time for that, but it's kind of like how shamans, they laugh a lot. Even though they deal with sometimes dark forces, is that there was a comic that I was reading, I think it was the Infinity Gauntlets. It's not like the movie, it's way more intense, and there was a scene where the Silver Surfer had to jump in the middle of a battle, and there were all the heroes like Wolverine, Iron Man were fighting Thanos, and they were like getting destroyed, and Adam Warlock was saying, oh, it's like a game. And the Silver Surfer got upset because they were like in the middle of space and it was this epic battle, and they said, how could you call this a game? There's people dying. And then Adam Warlock says, well, if I don't think it's a game, my heart and my mind couldn't possibly handle it, and I wouldn't be able to be, he was like the leader, the shot caller, and he wouldn't be able to be a clear-minded leader if he thought of it anything other than a game. So I think that's how you might live life, you know, sometimes, is that it could be really difficult and you laugh it off. You might be connected to sunflowers. I'm not an artist, so I apologize. There's the fairies up here. There's like this person carrying it. It's like a face kite. Hopefully there's something in there for you. I don't know what I'm doing. I just thought this would be fun. I'll just leave the picture here just in case. Sunflowers, again, more yellow, green energy here. You are grounded despite having fun. And again, that confuses people. they think you should be either this or that, but not both. And that's coming from people who've lost touch with their inner child, which you might deal with a lot, to kind of bring that back out of them. Let's get an oracle card for your overall energy. How would a tarot reader describe you? But you don't let everyone see this happy side to you initially. Like sometimes people bring it out of you, but not everyone straight away. But it's there. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting card. I'm gonna pull another one. just to like clarify this. Well, no, it makes sense. There's like a frustration, a deep part of you that's frustrated with the structure of reality as it's supposed to be for an adult, you know? Like, especially if you live in America, where there's corporate, this and that, and it's like, what happened to the importance of connecting with spirit? What happened to the importance of being happy? Why isn't happy seen as something important? That could be... Okay. These are interesting. Well, part of that battle. I'll show you the card that came out first. And this is a community card. It feels like, again, like a game, you know, wrestling. It's a sport game. Like who's on top really, but the card that came out initially was this one. It's kind of weird. But you can see the buildings up top, you can see like a frustrated child at the bottom, and you see the colors around, where it's kind of like you're aware of how much negative impact commercialism and all that, like the economy, plays on the planet. And it's frustrating because, again, you come across as like a lighthearted, childlike energy, and I feel as though part of your purpose is to bring people to that reality where, again, happiness and love and connection to the environment is not like just an airy-fairy space or new age thing. It's the reality of this planet, is that we're on a planet on this giant rock in the middle of the sky, surrounded by other stars, and it's kind of difficult to convince people that that's true because they don't see it when they're going to work every day, and it's seen as something that's unimportant. But in reality, like, how big are we in comparison to the universe, and what's our connection to it? Okay, so in the mundane world, this is how you interact with the world. Description of who you are. Again, this is Seven of Wands, which is a very defensive energy. Usually, you know, defending how you feel, but it also draws a lot of attention to you. And I'll revert back to this image that I showed, where the flower draws in various beings who, you know, ultimately want nurturing, but they might come across as someone who's just trying to take control of your energy. We have the red chameleons. That's the first card here. You're very powerful. Here we have the Seven of Swords again. So you might deal with people who can't accept a part of themselves. You know, I think you're just someone who brings that out of them, even on a regular basis. So you might you have the King of Cups, which is your energy. You're incredibly connected to your emotional center. You're incredibly connected to spirit. We have the crown there as well. I think that's what makes you sometimes see life as a game, and it's to be played, and there's going to be like just the opposition or different characters within the game, and that's how you see it. But ultimately it could feel a little frustrating, like the rules aren't fair, you know. You could feel like the rules aren't fair and you don't really understand them because there's such a pure light to you. Then we have the Ace of Wands. You could be someone with a lot of inspiration to take the action, especially as you've seen more of the world. Like you want to bring some of this energy into the forefront. Let's get some more cards. Page of Cups. You'd be great at teaching people about subtle energies and chasing big dreams. I mean, that's why you're the King of Cups too. It's like sometimes you feel a little too big, despite if you live in a big city or something like that, or even if you don't, where despite the way the outer world feels, how big, how tall the buildings are, and how dressed up the people are with their suits and ties and their, you know, meetings and stuff like that, you feel so much bigger than them. Well, not like in an egotistic way, but like spiritually, it's almost suffocating to be in those environments with around so much lying and so much trying to upsell this and you know, market value that, and it could come across as though you're being personally attacked. And I think playing it as a game can ease that a little bit, where it's like, okay, well, these are just my opponents, and I could see that, you know, that there's this figure here. I don't know. It's like they see you as something beyond this, you know, and this might have to do with relationships too, where it's like you dream really big and you're not really willing to give up on those dreams, despite people coming up to you and saying, hey, you know, that can't really happen. What else? I did this thing with my dad once where I was like, hey, just what's your dream house? And we're just talking about the dream house, and then I mentioned mine. He's like, well, you can't have that, that's too expensive. I'm like, dude, it's a dream house. Like, and then he was like, oh, my dreams are based in reality. I was like, well, your reality is incredibly limited, and I think that's something that you're creating for yourself, unfortunately. And that's what, like, there's a whale, there's two whales in here. You could be connected to Pisces. Yeah, well, Pisces energy, but I was going to say Pleiadians. This could be the Pleiadian pile, which would be why, you know, that makes sense. Being so free and big in spirit, this feels incredibly uncomfortable. But I think part of the reason why you're there is to shift the perspective of reality for a lot of people. And this is something you experience on a day-to-day basis. I have another card for this. But you're very connected to your inner child, and you see that as valuable. It's like a shaman vibe to you. Two of Swords. So a couple of these cards came up earlier, and there's this conflict, I think, of playing this game and being true to yourself, and sometimes you want to just defend off the world of yeah, if you're hesitant, it's not because you don't have a strong intuition. That's not true at all, because you are the King of Cups. It's that, should I just neglect my intuition to fit in? You know, that happens a little bit. Let's look at your spiritual connection. The Lovers. Page of Cups. Page of Cups coming in twice, so, and with the moon energy coming in twice again. Lots of Eight of Swords. Okay. So you want love, right? Like, not just in another person, but in general. You value love, and that's something that's not, again, valued as much as it should be. I also think you're connected to all aspects of yourself. You're very balanced. Masculine, feminine. You can even see the two whales here. You nurture both whales, right? You take care of both sides of who you are equally. Because there is a side to you that's trying to navigate play this game. Sometimes they wrestle, but I think over time, you've come to terms with both sides of who you are. Page of Cups. Kind of feels like a juggling act, no? Oh Lord. Come on, camera. I don't know why it's being so difficult today. Let's try again. There's a little vine here that makes you feel maybe stuck. Coral. It's like you prefer to be underwater. You're probably very connected to water. And notice how, I mean, like usual, but the fish are coming out of the cup into reality. You dream big. We have the Eight of Swords. So just take a look at the moon in these cards. Okay. Do you see the moon? It's in the exact same position in 3 different cards in 2 different decks. Very connected to the moon. Very connected to cycles within yourself, and you're aware of this. And even this person tied up looks to the moon, knowing that there's a way out. But I do feel as though with the 8 of Swords being here, in the spiritual side of things, where you feel like you can't exactly express your connection to your heart center all the time, that you have to be tied down to what society thinks is productive, what is considered successful doesn't exactly align with you. I think, again, you're more concerned with happiness, and it could be really difficult for you, you know. And we have the 7 of Pentacles. You might be at a point in your life where you're trying to figure out how to move on. If I remember correctly, the 7 of Pentacles is another moon card, Moon in Taurus. Or is it Virgo? No, it's Taurus. Whoops. Being ultimately unsatisfied. Let's grab a few more cards. How would a tarot reader describe you? It's kind of like you're kind of done playing the fool. I think you might have felt alone for quite a while. Hey, but as soon as I said that, we have the Page of Pentacles. Just look at how they face each other. That's beautiful. One more card. So if you haven't found someone yet, this doesn't necessarily mean a soulmate or relationship of that kind, but it does speak of connecting with a physical person who can understand you, and that's something big. And it's interesting how the cards fell. This is the spiritual section, by the way. So this has to do with, on a spiritual and a very deep level, having a connection with someone who really understands you. And I think together you'd be able to accomplish a lot in terms of just feeling comfortable and like you're a part of this planet again, because sometimes that might not be the case. This is exactly how the card fell, with the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Cups, and going off together. And notice again that these two cards are right on top of the Lovers. So there could be a really strong relationship coming, if it hasn't been there already, that has a lot to do with your life purpose. Not like this person is your life purpose, but kind of giving hope to you that you're not completely alone, and that you don't have to fight everybody to be happy, that your happiness is valued, and you could be seen as someone with wisdom. You have the Knight of Cups on top of the Eight of Swords, so there is a way out, and it's through moving forward in, I mean, you don't have to stay in this world that other people have created. You can create your own world. I think that could be part of the frustration, is feeling like there's no one else, that there's no alternative, and that's not true. Because again, I feel like this Page of Pentacles would help you evolve from the Page of Cups to the Knight of Cups. And then that's how you'd be able to move forward. You'll also notice how dark most of these cards in the spiritual side are. And the very last card is the Seven of Pentacles, where it's just here to remind you that although things seem slow and bleak at times, that you're making progress. Let's clarify this card. But you're a dreamer. This is a dreamer pile, I think. A lot of loving energy that hasn't really been acknowledged by others and challenged a lot. Two of Pentacles. I don't know if you are all drawn to pile one, but you would certainly see quite a few similarities there. Building. It's been a long journey for you, I think. Okay, so let's get, how do you impact the world with a few oracle cards? It's kind of funny because even though you felt stuck for a while, even though it's hard to deal with difficult people, at the end of the day, you will move forward. And once you're moving, you'll feel free. We have the Speak card. So part of this has to do with sharing your story about feeling out of place, because there is an audience for you. I think that's where you're headed with the Two of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups. If you notice that this figure here is looking ahead to where you could feel you could shine to your fullest. Look at this. The sun, yeah. To be truly bright. And again, I'm going to mention that brightness again with service. To giving yourself to others. But being in an environment, I think it's really important for you. Your environment has played, I think, a big part of your life. I mean, I guess it is for everyone. But like the frustration that you felt could be within a community. So you might have been raised in a community. It's like, what is happening? I don't understand it. They kind of try to influence you in a certain way of being, and just there's this part of you that knows that that doesn't exist in other places in the world, and that you could always move to them, but getting there could be difficult. But you still set your sights high, knowing that you could move there to where you could bloom and blossom, that people could come to you seeking your wisdom and your voice, but not take. I think that's been something you've had to deal with in the 3D world, where you have a lot to offer, but so far there have been a lot of people who just want to take from you. They just want to make you feel like you're not beautiful, and that's caused you to put up defenses as well, to hesitate, to second guess yourself, especially with the wand's energy. But sometimes you just want to explode, to be honest, where just a lot of bottled up emotions and frustration. I mean, it's there, but it's interesting how this could lead to having the energy to move forward to where you want, and to finally having an audience, to finally being in a community where you're valued for what you are. And I do think you have an angelic helper. We did have wings here, so angels or elemental spirits who are helping guide you to find your tribe, your soul tribe, because they're out there, and there is an environment for you that really feels like home, even though I feel like this pal hasn't quite found it yet, but it is there. So hopefully this reading was helpful. Please let me know. Please comment, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose this pyrite, you know, I really hope that's the right name for this, because I honestly don't know. So let's get into your channeled drawing. Again, this is my first time, second time doing this, so we'll see how it goes, but I'm not an artist. I'll just say. You know, at this point I'd be talking, and I'm not focused on anything in particular, but you might be someone who doesn't like to share things until they're done, unlike some people who like to talk about it constantly. You know what I'm saying? Like someone who's turning over a new leaf for the 90th time, but they haven't really ever accomplished much of anything. You're not like that. I think you work very hard, and you don't necessarily expect a lot of recognition for it, although from time to time it would be nice. That might have been something that's happened, is that's become a given. Oh, they'll get it done, because they always get it done, but it does take energy, time, discipline. Sometimes you feel like you're or undervalued. Lots of fire energy in this pile. I mean, I think that stone is associated with the solar plexus or sacral chakra, but I have no idea. I actually don't know. I haven't used that stone that much. The other two, for the other piles, I tend to hold together. But this one, no, not so much. So I think you're out of the box in that way, in the way you take action. This is an action-oriented pile. Very structured as well. It's kind of like Aries, Emperor energy. But it's for a purpose, and I think the calculating nature of who you are and why you don't waste a lot of time sharing before something's done comes from just how much energy it takes to do what you want to accomplish. Because it's big. I think you're here to do some big things. And I think you feel as though people will just get in the way of that. And I think your past experiences might have shown that that's the case, you know, where as soon as you mention something to someone, they just have their opinions that you didn't ask for, and sorry. Oh, this kind of reminds me of, what is it, the Three of Wands? We'll see. Anyway. I don't know what's happening, but hopefully I'll show you this. I actually drew the figure last. I started with the flames, so we'll take that later. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a Nine of Wands, Emperor energy, that sort of thing. A lot of creative potential that is waiting to be manifest if it hasn't already. Let's take a look at your Oracle deck, your Oracle card. The energy, what is your energy? Anything else? I can see that, but this is a very spiritual pile. Very calm of the mind. You might feel like you're surrounded by dark spirits, but this could also be protection. Yeah, I think you're very protective of your, like I said, sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra. Step into the power a lot. Well, you're aware of your creative potential, and you're very close to your ancestors as well. Very respectful of your ancestors and your spirit team. It's like you hold the world in your hand. So let's see how you navigate the mundane 3D world. We have Seven of Cups. I'll take these, I'll take these. There's a lot of ways that you can go about expressing yourself. It's like, what is it that you're ultimately going for, and who is it for? The Knight of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles. I don't know if these are in reverse. No? Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not doing reversals right now. Knight of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, the Justice card, and the Hermit. I'll start with the Hermit because it kind of looks and feels similar. I think that's where you get your energy from too. Like cold and calculating, introspective. It's like you want to bring something out from what you found when you've gone into deep meditation, into deep introspection, and you really want to bring that out. That's what this is all about. Showing more of you, and knowing that that part of you is actually the culmination of a lot of people. Your family line, there's a lot to show. I think sometimes you might feel like there's too many options in the way of getting that, making that happen. And that it'll take time and patience. Could have a friend though that's helping you move forward. You could practice yoga. I do see like yoga here. Balancing, stretching. I see this Page of Pentacles looking at the Justice card. Balance is very important to you. Balance physically, balance in your daily life. She's looking at the Justice card. This could be something that you do for a living, is providing in some way justice or being fair in the way you deliver something, you know. Fairness is a very important part to you. If not in your job, then in just the way you navigate the world. Being extremely balanced and grounded and nurturing to yourself and others. Here's that Scorpio energy with Venus. Sometimes you feel like the emotions could be overbearing. And this could be the emotions of other people as well. It's almost like the Knight of Pentacles is casting a banishing spell. It's kind of like this. Where instead of sinking, you're standing tall. And I think part of that balance comes from your meditation. And expanding your power. Yeah, you come across as that kind of justice vibe, you know? Like people come to you for fairness. Just the way that Page of Pentacles was facing the Justice card. But you'll notice just the balancing aspect with the X, the Roman numerals at the top, they reflect each other. I don't know if you noticed that. There is a reflection, and I think you're someone who, with the Justice card, prioritizes the internal work because you see how it manifests in reality. Especially with the way this ball in the middle of this person's torso is filled with color, and that color comes out, you know? That's your creation. And that's why you guard it so well. Because it's your reality and your control of it. It's like you're holding on tight. What was the name of the song? Hold On Loosely? I forgot. It was in the 80s though. A couple more cards to clarify. You're very hardworking. Okay, so this card came out in all the piles. Could be just people you've had to deal with. Again, could be self-deception as well. And I think kind of tying into one of the other piles, but that's kind of where your fairness and your you find a lot of value and importance in fairness because you've seen a lot of injustice, and that's gotten to you, you know, in a good way. You have the Ten of Swords, ending that injustice with the Sun, you know, transitioning out of it. You could be someone who transitions a lot, goes through a lot of phases of your life. Whoops. You're very comfortable with changing. And I think that's what this Justice card is here to say as well. Is that when there's time for a new phase of your life, it's for your growth, you know? It's for the balance to be made. where maybe the people around you aren't giving as much as they should be in regards to everything, really. Especially with the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles. You might live by the mountains, or you might want to, just so you could feel what it feels like to get a higher perspective. I think perspective is really important for you, which is why you have so many different guides here. You want to get everyone's opinion. I think that's where the justice comes from, is trying to see all sides, every angle. And again, because this is describing like the 3D world, you could work with a lot of people who have different things to share, and you kind of bring everything together. So you put things together, right? Again, this person looks like they're at a high vantage point, looking down and planning accordingly. And that might be why there's the Seven of Cups, where it's a lot of different options, and they're coming from a lot of different people, and you're kind of reaching up. I think yoga, if you don't do it, would be one of those things that helps clear your mind and ground you again. This could also be a person, a friend, someone you could talk to that reminds you of your power with the triangle. Let's get to the spiritual side of things. How do you navigate spiritually? How would a tarot reader describe you spiritually? You're very fair, though, very practical. Okay, so we have the Eight of Pentacles, Six of Cups, Death, and the Five of Pentacles. Definitely worked hard on your spirituality. Could remind you of another pile if you chose another one. I think you might have had a spirit guide since childhood. Could be a friend too. If maybe a young person passed early on, that young person is around you now, and they provide that light. They provide that light here. They're probably one of those beings that I showed in the meditation card earlier. This one here might be one of the beings here. I do see it as well with the Justice and the Hermit. So I really think that in that Six of Cups, someone in the past provides the light to being fair and looking within yourself. Because it could be dizzying, almost, the amount of responsibility that you have in terms of being fair and being honest in the way you interact with the world. Yeah, you could be a daydreamer as well. Six of Cups, which is what, Sun in Scorpio? Scorpio's coming through a few times, so you might be a Scorpio, at least strong Scorpio placements. And I had mentioned transitions a few times as well. It's kind of a hint of maybe interacting with a past loved one, or otherwise just valuing transitions, valuing the shedding of skin so that you could become a better version of yourself. Because that does happen often. And you're almost comfortable with it. You're just like, oh, it's time to do this again. And it might feel really good to let go so that you could move forward. I do think that you're someone who likes to move spiritually and physically. We have the Five of Pentacles here. You might not like receiving from others. You might not like being seen as a charity case, even if you're drowning. So you might be someone who just doesn't like to receive help. I think you prefer the help of spirit as opposed to other people, just because of your interactions with people who've just seem to have a lending hand, but at the end of the day they expect something in return that you didn't agree to, which is exhausting. So sometimes you feel like you have to go it alone, even though there's help all around you constantly. Okay, let's clarify these. I don't know if you pray or do affirmations, but it's coming through. We have the Ace of Cups. I think you like studying new spiritual topics and applying them in a practical way until they've run their course, and you're like, all right, maybe this spiritual practice isn't doing much for me, I'm gonna move on, you know. Or maybe you just can't seem to focus, like this camera. It's like, alright. And that's something that I feel you're someone who doesn't just take other people's spiritual wisdom and runs with it. Like, if it doesn't, even if it's like from a guru who's very popular or something like that, you know, a spiritual teacher, if it doesn't resonate with you, you have no problem with leaving it, because again, you're very well aware of your power to create your reality and live in your reality. It's your reality, and you determine how resonant someone's wisdom is to you. I'll show you the Ace of Cups, the Eight of Swords. I do think with the Death and the Ace of Sword, or Eight of Swords, it's almost like when you feel the most stuck, that's when you make your transitions. That's when you really shed your skin and become someone new. Lots of new energy. We have the moon at the bottom of the deck, the cute little Dalmatian. I like this moon card. It's actually, I think, almost a full moon, or it is a full moon today. I'm hearing Bark of the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, I don't listen to the same music most other readers will listen to, but whatever. You don't like feeling stuck, though. Like, I think you'd rather move and be uncomfortable and have no idea how you're gonna get around. You'd rather move and be broke than be stuck and comfortable and complacent. And I think you trust the universe enough to know that you could jump and have support. Again, you're well aware of the spiritual support you have. And part of your life purpose and part of your wisdom that you have to share is getting people unstuck. And that the spiritual work that you do to yourself, in terms of healing, in terms of acquiring knowledge, really just builds a stronger you, so that when you are stuck, you're more easily able to be aware of it and move out of it. So that just happens quickly, more and more quickly. That's happened over and over. With the Hermit card, you just go back in. You keep growing, keep shedding, get out of those Eight of Swords situations there. It's kind of funny how this was Gemini, Jupiter, and Jupiter is expansive. It's kind of like being in that causes you to expand, and through that, that's where you get your movement towards the sun. And again, with the sun, that could be like a childhood friend or a spirit that you met early on in life, kind of guiding you. Okay, so let's see how or what impact, what impact you make on the world. What's your impact on the world? Trash. Well, I guess that makes sense. It's that balancing energy. I think you attract spirits, actually. With the death card. Yeah, I think this pile is more comfortable with spirits than you are with people sometimes. Not all the time, but with the attraction card. And it's just, these beings kind of look like they're not people. It just goes back to this, that goes back to the death card, that goes back to the hermit. Denial. The denial card kind of reminds me of this, right? You might call people out. That's part of getting yourself and others out of this state of Swords, is seeing that you're stuck and facing it. That's when you take your blindfolds off and you're like, alright. She's covering her eyes too. She's covered with darkness despite having all the flowers and everything around. It's like, how stuck are you really? I don't know. I'm just going to show this card because I feel like it has something to do. Yes. And prosperity. So you definitely help people grow. That's the impact you have. You attract people who are stuck and you help them grow. It's part of like that attraction here. It's like you wield the flame that draws people in so that you can help them transition and become better versions of themselves. Alright, I'm going to end the reading here. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, share the video. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care.